Vanchikavadrivishya Kripasadubhya Vyasa-puja Pravena Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Simate Govinda Swami Niti Namine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasri Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Dandavat Saviman Vaishnapadipishya Kripasadubhya Vyasa-puja Pravena Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Simate Tatpadam Dashatamyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, today's the 93rd appearance of our beloved Gurudev, His Divine Grace, Sri Srimad Srila Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj. So today I just got an email that this booklet, Guru Tattva in Russian, if you're all out there listening, is printed and on its way to Vrindavan for distribution. This is Gurudev's famous paper on Guru Tattva. And it's now in Russian and it's on its way to Vrindavan. There's 5,000 copies and that will be distributed in Vrindavan this Kartik. So that's number one. And I've got a few offerings to read and different things. So I might speak a little bit, read an offering, speak a little bit and read an offering if that's okay with everyone, yeah? So, when Guru Maharaj first went to Bhubaneswar, he went with a devotee named Bhagavat Das. And I think that devotee is now Bhagavat Maharaj, isn't it? Yes. So, Guru Maharaj said when they got there, well, there was basically nothing. And the area was inhabited, there was a lot of dacoits, and they were robbing the trucks hijacking the trucks and robbing them on the National Highway number 5. So Bhagavat said to Guru Maharaj was a new man, Gour Govinda Das, right? He was a new brahmachari in the temple, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And Prabhupada had sent him to Bhubaneswar to start a centre. And Bhagavat said to Guru Maharaj, we can't stay here, the dacoits will kill us. This is what Guru Maharaj said to me. I've got it on recorded interviews with Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj said to him, well, you can go. But Prabhupada said, we have to stay, as I'm staying. But you go, I'll stay. And Bhagavat said to Guru Maharaj, no, you're a new devotee. You can't stay here. You're a new man. You have to go. So Guru Maharaj said reluctantly he left. But he said if he had been a sannyasi, he would have just stayed. Because that was Prabhupada's order. Order the Guru is foremost, right? There's nothing greater than the order of the Guru. If the Guru says, the Guru Maharaj saying, well, you jump off the building, you jump off the building. It's very rare. Who could do it? No one could do it. Just like Guru Maharaj said once that if they came to destroy Prabhupada's bhajan kuti, he would lie down on the ground in front of the bulldozers. And they would have to bulldoze him before they got the building. This is the gravity, right? The seriousness of, the service to Guru. So anyway, they got on a train and they went to Hyderabad because there was a festival there in Hyderabad and then everyone was going to Vrindavan for the installation of the deities. And Guru Maharaj said, as soon as Prabhupada saw him, he said, what are you doing here? And Guru Maharaj said, well, Prabhupada, can I speak to you? So they went in to speak to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj explained everything to him. And then out of the blue, Guru Maharaj just said, Prabhupada, when are you going to give me sannyas? And Prabhupada said, because the first thing Prabhupada had said to Guru Maharaj is when he first met him, he said, have you taken sannyas? And Guru Maharaj said, no. And Prabhupada said, well, if you stay here, I'll give you sannyas. And Guru Maharaj said, oh, he's read my heart. That's the super soul. Right. The activity of the super soul. This person knows my heart. So he said, when will you give me sannyas? And Prabhupada said, are you going to Vrindavan for the opening of the temple? He said, yes. He said, I'll give you sannyas there. So then there was a train ride from Hyderabad to Vrindavan and there was carriages just for the devotees, and there's so many devotees on there. And devotees couldn't work out who Guru Maharaj was, and he just sat on his suitcase in front of the toilet all the way to Vrindavan. It's like 48 hours, right? He just sat there chanting. And one devotee said, I couldn't work out whether he was with our party or not. And then when it came time for the sannyas initiations, there was 2 people to get initiated. One of them was Tripurari Das, who became Tripurari Swami, but no one knew who the second person was. And then when Prabhupada said, sannyas initiates come, Guru Maharaj stood up, and the devotees on the train realised that person was with us, he was with our party, and now he's taking sannyas. Guru Maharaj was very quiet. He didn't promote himself in any way. He did not chew someone's ear off all day presenting their point of view, right? There was none of that. You know, he stayed in the background, as is the case on that train ride. He just didn't say anything, he just sat on his suitcase for the whole way, long way. So after the initiation, sannyas initiation, Prabhupada spoke to Guru Maharaj, and Prabhupada said, what's the land like? Is it like Vrindavan? Is it like the land here? And Guru Maharaj said, yeah, it's like here. Then Prabhupada said to him, okay, the temple you're going to build, call it Krishna Balaram. Krishna Balaram Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram in Bhubaneswar. Guru Maharaj said, definitely. And Prabhupada said to him, whoever comes, you have to help them. Whoever comes. And Guru Maharaj said to me, well, I can help spiritually, but I can't help anyone materially. Because many people go to Guru for cars and wives and money and this and that, but Guru helps spiritually. Right? But Guru Maharaj did help people materially. He lent people money. He used to lend them money, and they had to pay it back, things like that. Anyway. So Guru Maharaj went back to Bhubaneswar. There was nothing, absolutely nothing. There was no electricity, no running water, no toilets, no phone, no building, no nothing. It was very austere. And even after he built the hut was full of holes. So even when it rained, Guru Maharaj used to put an umbrella up inside the hut so that he didn't get wet. And one day it rained for 3 or 4 days, monsoons. And he said he just sat in there, chanted under his umbrella. He couldn't go out, he said. So it was very austere. And he said sometimes in the night a truck would go by. So that was a bit of association. He said some sound and some light. But otherwise it was just him. And very slowly devotees started coming. David Dham was the first Westerner to appear on the scene. And David Dham said... he caught a rickshaw from the train station, and he said pretty soon he realised that the rickshaw wallah didn't know where he was going, and we'd been going for 20 minutes in the wrong direction. Anyway, they asked the directions, and he got there, and he said he got off the rickshaw, he got his bags. There was no front gate or anything, it was just open paddock and a hut. And if you see the pictures of the hut and the little outhouse they had in it, I mean, it almost looks like a slum. No offence, but if you see the pictures, that's what it looks like. And then he said, then I got my first glimpse of Srila Govinda Swami. And he said, I could understand. He said, this is a real Vaishnava. And he said, for the whole time he was there, he was never chastised. He was never chastised for not collecting enough money. He was never chastised for not selling enough books. He was not asked to cook, and he was not asked to clean. And definitely Guru Maharaj would not let anyone cook. Guru Maharaj did the cooking, and Guru Maharaj would not allow anyone to wash his cloth. He said, this was very rare for ISKCON sannyasi. He said, this is actually, he said, he was very different to your average, everyday average ISKCON sannyasi. He said when I associated with him, it made me feel very calm, very peaceful. And he said, David Dam said, I cannot remember eating a sweet in Bhubaneswar. He said, if we got a banana, that was a treat. You know, if we got a banana. That there were no sweets, but he said when the Westerners came, they all were looking for the best sweet shops. And they were coming back with boxes of sweets. And I remember Jayadharma, he said there were 3 or 4 tents when they, when Prabhupada went to Bhubaneswar from the 19th of January to the 3rd of February. And the 2nd of January was the installation of the groundbreaking ceremony, which Prabhupada oversaw. And he said that some of the big senior Swamis, I'm not going to say their names because they'll be offended, but he said they were in the tent doing jazz renditions. One was pretending he was a trumpet, one was the bass. Dum, 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 dum. You know, they were doing this and playing all jazz tunes. And Jayadharma said, he was just sitting there looking at it thinking, okay. And it wasn't, yeah. Anyway, whereas in the hut was Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj speaking very deep Siddhanta. So he said that what was going on. So anyway, David Dam said, fine, another brahmachari came, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and they both went on a book distribution together, and he said it was a little hard because 1, the books were in Oriya, and 2, they didn't speak Oriya. So you're approaching people that maybe don't speak English, and you don't speak Oriya, so it was very interesting. But he said, whatever they brought back, whatever books they distributed, Guru Maharaj was very happy with it. 1 book, 2 book, 5, he didn't care. Guru Maharaj was just happy that they were doing the job, doing the preaching. Because Guru Maharaj said, Guru Maharaj was translating the books and having them printed, Prabhupada wanted them distributed, and these boys were helping him, so Guru Maharaj was very happy. And after a while, he allowed them to start cooking. So they did a roster. They each cooked a different day, you know, but Guru Maharaj wouldn't let anyone wash his cloth. Guru Maharaj wouldn't let anyone wash his cloth or do any personal service to him until he had trouble with his legs, and then he allowed them to do something. Prior to that, he wouldn't allow. Because Prabhupada specifically told him when he went to Bhubaneswar, Vaishnav cooks his own food, offers it and eats it, does his own washing, and grows vegetables and cooks them. And Guru Maharaj said, I tried growing vegetables. So it was, yeah. So there was the 3 of them, and David Dam said they would go to different villages in a rickshaw. He said, I don't remember catching a taxi. He said, I don't remember catching a taxi, and he said they would just go and do kirtan, and Guru Maharaj would speak. So, and it was very austere. There was no mattress, there was no mosquito net. There was just a straw mat on the ground that you laid on, and if you were cold, you pulled your wrap over yourself. That was it, bus. And then in 78, 79, a devotee named Tamoha went. Tamoha said the kitchen was very small and you couldn't walk into the kitchen. You sort of had to duck down and crawl in. And it was, the fire was going, so there was so much smoke you had to run out, get a breath of air, and then go back in and keep cooking, you know. And he said it was very austere, and he said sometimes someone would forget to cook. And it was you only ate once a day in Bhubaneswar, right? In those early days, once a day. And he said, someone would forget to cook, and he said, Guru Maharaj, His Divine Grace, our beloved Gurudev, Srila Govinda Swami, he wouldn't say anything, he'd just keep translating. He wouldn't say, has anyone cooked, just keep translating. And then that Abhinandan Dasi came on the scene. He was there for 6 months, and he guarantees Guru Maharaj never slept for 6 months. He was 24/7 going. Because, you see, to actually get a taste from bhakti, as Rupa Goswami says, Seva Sadhaka Rupena Siddha Rupena, how does it go? Seva I've forgotten the verse, forgotten a lot of verses. Seva Sadhaka Rupena is Siddha Rupena Chatra. Anyway, it's not only what's going on externally with your arms and legs and mouth flapping, so-called devotional services, what's going on inside. And if you're really a Krishna conscious person, you don't need to sleep and eat. You'll just serve all the time. You'll eat a little bit to maintain the body. I remember when the plate would go into Guru Maharaj's room, this was later in the 90s, and the plate would be this big, And it had so many preparations on it, and some of the Madhijis from Nayapali would be cooking as well, and those preps would go on the plate. So there's this massive plate would go in, and you'd watch it go in, and you'd stand there and watch it come out, and there wasn't a morsel touched. There was maybe 1 or 2 chapatis, maybe a few grains of rice, maybe a little bit of dalma, bas. And then the brahmacharis would jump on that plate and they'd devour it all. But yeah, Guru Maharaj didn't eat much. And I remember Krishnananda, he said when they first went, this is in the late 80s, he said that they were invited down to take prasad, and the plate went into Guru Maharaj and it came out, and then it fed Krishnananda and his wife, Akishna and his wife, Janeshwar and his wife, Chidananda, Parabrahma, and Sadhu, who was Guru Maharaj's cook. That's like 9 or 10 people. The Guru Maharaj was eating morsels. You know, you can't exist on that. It's not possible. Because real sadhu exists on bhakti. He doesn't exist on eating and sleeping and all these things, you know. And if you looked at Guru Maharaj's program, right, Guru Maharaj's program was go to bed 1:30, 2 o'clock and wake up 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30 max, and have a rest in the afternoon max. And I remember one day we were there and he said, I tried to have a rest, but the ants are coming down from the ceiling, down the wall, up my bed and biting me. I couldn't sleep, he said. So he didn't sleep. So there wasn't much sleeping, there wasn't much eating. And that was because sadhus, they serve. Right? They serve the mission of Ma Bhagavan. They're not conditioned souls. They're not saying, where's the halava, where's the hot milk, where are the puris? No. There's a bowl of kitri, it's on the floor, that's what you prasad, just eat it. And someone forgets to cook, you don't eat. I couldn't do that in a fit. Even when they fixed Guru Maharaj's hut up, I mean, it still looked like a hut, you know, because when in the 90s they fixed up the hut, it still looked like a hut, you know, it was still. And they even made Guru Maharaj when they built the guest house, they built this fabulous room for Guru Maharaj, and he wouldn't stay in it. He said, Prabhupada stayed here, I'll stay here. My Guru Maharaj stayed here, I stay here, bus. He wouldn't stay in that big room. So I remember Lagudi said that some of the big Swamis came to Bhubaneswar. This was in the late 70s, early 80s. Prabhupada had left. So Lagudi was chanting the Prema Dwani, right? And he went, Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Paribraja, Kacharya, Stadada Sada Sri Sri Madhis, Divine Grace, Srila Gour, Govinda. And this sannyasi, this guy saying, hey, Lagudi, you're trying to create a 12th Acharya. They chastised him, and Lagudi said, well, I'm just chanting the glories of a great sadhu, he said, you know. But they stopped, no, he's trying to create a 12th Acharya. Lagudi knew Guru Maharaj's position because Lagudi was Guru Maharaj's servant throughout the whole Mayapur 1979 event. That Leela of Guru Maharaj, Samadhi Leela of Guru Maharaj, and no one in ISKCON even knew they hadn't even read about that. You couldn't read about that in the book, I don't think, practically speaking, you know. And even if you listen to a later interview done with Lagudi Brew about that event, he says things that we haven't put in the books because he said other things, but it's not a normal event. It's not a normal person that can do that. And Lagudi saw all that and was Guru Maharaj's servant. This was not a conditioned soul joining the movement to get prasad, etc., etc., etc. Don't forget, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada said, eat as much prasad until you wobble like a duck, right? Right? But what was the reason he said that? Anyone know? Because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, the guru of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he said, when people come, feed them as much prasadam as possible, and they may come to the position of a Kanishta Adhikari. May. And you have to understand, according to Madhurya Kandabini, right, Kanishta is not the beginning of bhakti. Bhakti starts at Nishta. Kanishta, that Kanishta is pre-bhakti. This is the nursery, preschool, kindergarten. Right? Right. Bhakti starts at Nishta, and real faith means Shraddha Sabda Vishwasakara Sudhudana Nishkoi Krishna Bhakti Koila Savakama Krita Hoy. that means that strong, firm faith that develops bhakti, that's nishta. And all acharyas say minimum nishta is safe ground. Anadana is not safe ground because you've still got anatas. Anadana means we're diving through the hoop of fire, hoping to get to the other side to get steady ground. So yeah, real sadhu, he doesn't eat much, he doesn't sleep much. His whole thought process is one thought process, serving Guru and Gauranga. So in Orissa, that early days, it was very austere. And some, as I said, some days they didn't even cook. Or they forgot to cook. I've got a couple of dreams I want to talk about, if that's okay with everyone. And this happened to two now disciples of Guru Maharaj. Right? I'm going to read them. So there was one, Ganesham Prabhu was a high school teacher in Orissa, Western Orissa, or Odisha, Baragada district. In the mid-80s, when he was a school teacher, one of his friends gifted him a book titled Science of Self-Realization. After reading that book, he became very, very happy and found the address of the publishers, which was the Juhu BBT. So he wrote to them and ordered a whole lot of books and was signed up for the monthly Back to Godhead and became very happy. And then he found a full-page colour photo of Srila Prabhupada on the BTG, in the BTG, so he took it out and he framed it and started to worship that picture. And he was so intense in his worship, every day he was praying to Srila Prabhupada, you are my Guru, I want to take initiation from you only, etc., etc. A few days after this, he saw Srila Prabhupada in a dream. And Srila Prabhupada said to him, you go to Bhubaneswar and you take initiation from my disciple, Govinda Swami. So this devotee, he did that. And he met Guru Maharaj and he said, he wrote to Guru Maharaj about his dream. He received the reply and Srila Gurudev told him to visit Bhubaneswar when he could get some time. He said the first time he met with Srila Gurudev, His Divine Grace Govinda Swami, he saw Prabhupada in the form of Srila Gurudev and his heart was full of joy and ecstasy and he took complete shelter of Gurudev. This devotee is in really old age now, just chanting and remembering the mercy he got from Guru and Gauranga. So that's one. This is part of chapter 15 in volume 3 of the life story. This is volume 3, part 1. Volume 3 is in 3 parts, folks. It's over 1,000 pages now. But this is volume 3, part 1, chapter 15. It's about a Mr. Kamini Mohan Patnaik. It's a real Oriya name. And it's about how he met Prabhupada and what happened, he met Guru Maharaj, met Prabhupada. So what happened was, when Prabhupada went to Bhubaneswar in, as I said, January 19 to February 3rd, and there was nothing there, and I might talk about that a bit later, but there's absolutely nothing there. And this Mr. Patnaik, he went, because he'd heard the leader of ISKCON is in that, in that hut, living in that hut, and she'd go and listen, so he went. And he said that Bhubaneswar that area was most undeveloped. So it was about 8 p.m. The weather was a little cold. He said he entered into a thatched cottage and he saw Srila Prabhupada, an old gentleman, sitting on a raised quilt close to the backside wall, surrounded by foreign and Indian disciples. He was wearing a high neck, light coloured long sleeve coat and holding a saffron coloured bead bag. He was looking very gentle, sober, grave and radiating with transcendental energy. Whilst holding his japamala, he was speaking with those in the room, mostly in English and sometimes in Hindi. He said one interesting thing was, to any question from the audience, he was replying with quotations from the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and elaborating the answer by asking a disciple to read aloud such and such sloka and such a chapter. Right. He said, I like that. You know, people were asking questions. He said, bring the Gita, quote that verse, bring Bhagavatam, quote that verse. Then he would quote that purport and that purport. And this man really liked that. He said he was solid Siddhanta, you know, very solid. Because as Mukunda says, we quote, we don't vote on Siddhanta. We quote. We quote authorities. We quote Siddhanta, right? We quote acharyas. We don't quote Maya. We don't vote. We quote Siddhanta and acharyas. During the course of the discussion, a foreign lady disciple came in holding 2 silver cups on a silver tray. She first of all offered her humble obeisance to Srila Prabhupada and advanced very slowly, with immense reverence towards Srila Prabhupada. He took some medicine and a little water from one cup and then washed his finger and lips from the water in the cup. And this is where this man starts to mental out, right? He's totally captured, right? And then this happens. At that time, Mr. Kamini Mohan Patnaik could see the fingers of Prabhupada had jewel-studded golden rings. Had rings, right? And 2 golden teeth. Seeing this, he could not reconcile it with his idea of what a Vaishnava is, so he decided to leave after some time. Paying his pranams, he was given a little prasad. Srila Prabhupada was looking at him smiling. And the man said, probably because of his mental state, Prabhupada figured out what he was thinking. And Prabhupada called a disciple and said, give him prasad before he goes, right? So many years later, it was 12 years later, this man still wants a bona fide guru and he hasn't found one, right? And there's across the highway, there's a temple being built, Sri Krishna Balaram temple. And there's a sadhu in the hut there. And this man's 12 years. And in response to his prayer, Prabhupada appeared to him in a dream. And Prabhupada said to him, my disciple, Govinda Swami, is over the highway there, in that hut. You go to him and you take shiksha, and you take shiksha from him immediately. This is in a dream, right? So the guy, he's in bed, he wakes up and he just runs over the highway, goes to see Guru Maharaj, pays dandavats, he said, tells him about the dream, and you know, and Guru Maharaj is more humble than ever. He's very humble. And he said, yes, he said, we have Chaitanya Charitamrita class Thursday and Friday and Saturday, and we have Bhagavatam Sunday to Wednesday. Please come. He didn't say, oh, you're my disciple, give me money, come and take initiation. He said, come and listen to the classes. And that was Guru Maharaj's thing, and he invited everyone to Bhubaneswar to listen, because by hearing, you'll understand the Siddhanta. That is our thing. Our thing is hearing. Primary is hearing, and that hearing from a sadhu. Hearing from Ganesha Sal, listening to me is useless. But hearing from a sadhu, real sadhu, that person who has come from that world to this world, who has brought with him the Prem Bhakti Sutra, the rope of divine love, that we're supposed to grab hold on and then we get pulled out, right? That person you listen to. You don't listen to anyone else. And the disciple of that guru, he repeats what the guru says, bas. Nothing else. That's what we listen to. So that's what Guru Maharaj said to this man, and this man, he said, Srila Govinda Swami appeared to me like a genuinely true and elevated soul, having various divine qualities embedded together, making up an unparalleled Vaishnava personality. He is a disciple of the highest order in the Gaudiya Vaishnava disciplic succession. He has completely assimilated the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. He is a matchless gift to Srila Prabhupada, not only for the Vaishnava community, but also for the whole of humanity at large. You know, and that's, and in a nutshell, that's it. Right, that's it. The glories of Guru Maharaj. So the unparalleled Vaishnava. Gurudev invited everyone to listen. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada invited everyone to read his books. And but Guru Maharaj invited everyone to listen, to hear. In the Bhagavatam it says, Shruta Iksita Pata. See by hearing. Right? See by, if you want to see the Siddhanta, first you have to hear. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary on that verse, he makes the point, first you will have to hear from Sadhu Guru Vaishnava, then you have the chance of seeing Sri Krishna. First must hear. So, and I know some devotees have got a problem with that, and I know, and that's okay. But I've put together some quotes here that I'm going to, because Guru Maharaj's main thing was hear, to hear. Guru Maharaj's main thing was to hear. So, I'll read a few of these quotes and then I'll read another offering. So in the Amrita Vani by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, under the section Acceptance of a Living Guru, question 9, where does a person find his Guru? Right, where does he find his Guru? And the answer by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada is, whoever Sri Krishna, the embodiment of compassion, chooses to send to you as your Guru, that person alone will manifest before you externally as the Mahant Guru. The Guru in the form of the foremost living sadhu. By the mercy of Bhagavan, we will obtain a Guru, and by the mercy of the Guru we will obtain... So the Guru in the form of the foremost living sadhu. In the words of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, there is a complete difference between knowledge which has been garnered from the reading of books and the knowledge which arises from the epiphany of the self-effulgent truth. Right. Then, in the words of our beloved Gurudev, Srila Govinda Swami, he said, Krishna has said, Evam Parampara Praptam. He is the source, the origin. Gyan Tattva, Gyan, comes from him and descends through the disciplic succession. We must accept a bona fide acharya who comes in a bona fide parampara, completely surrender unto him, pranipatena, serve him, please him, satisfy him, then humbly ask, inquire about this tattva. This is Krishna's words, inquiry. If he is so pleased, he will impart tattva gyan, then you can receive it and your life will be successful. Right. Now, in the words of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, Mahaprabhu indicated that one of the 5 principal limbs of devotional service is hearing the Bhagavata. Jiva Goswami indicated that this is the best of all devotional activities. In order to proclaim the same truth, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur founded a regular group for discussion of the Bhagavata called Bhagavat Samsat, right, which was held in Jagannath Vallabha Gardens in Puri. So there was a whole discussion group on the Siddhanta. In the Krishna book, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada says one must, attain the association of an acharya and be initiated and be trained by him. I know we all know this, but there's a lot of people out there that don't know this, and there's a lot of people that don't believe it. So in July 19 in Paris, 1986, His Divine Grace Gaur Govinda Swami said, Maya becomes weak when you hear the speaking of the living sadhu and you take that instructions to heart. Maya becomes weak. Because Maya's got us running all over planet Earth. Now, there's an interesting purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavatam 4:21-27, where he says, we need to, with the spiritual master or pure devotee, we need to mix with him, talk with him, take lessons from him, surrender to such personalities, have intimate association with them. How do you talk with them if they're not here, you see? That's a subtle point. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says the illumination of one's eternal identity comes when one hears the preaching of that Shiksha Guru. Even for one initiated in a bona fide Sampradaya, he says that unless one hears the preaching of that Shiksha Guru, the illumination of one's eternal identity will not happen. In other words, the subtle body will dissolve and the spiritual body will start to manifest. That's our process. That's the general process. Right. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada said, at the dawn of our spiritual life, we sincerely and with complete submission and self-surrender pray to God for receiving the protection of Sadguru. The Supreme Lord, perceiving our earnestness and devotion with a view to guide us on the true path, will send a real Guru to us. In the words of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna has been truly merciful to me to lead me to Sadguru of your sublime character, caliber. Your nectarian words are my only sustenance. Number one is the words of the sadhu. Number two are the books. Number three, tape. Number four, video bus. No offense. People get offended when I say that, but what can I say? Say that again? Why is the tape recorder?
Before the video.
Oh, all right. Video, then tape recorder. Whatever you like. Do whatever you want. I'm cool. Therefore, it is said, therefore they always endeavor to have the Sangha of the Bhakta Bhagavata. In the absence of the Bhakta Bhagavata, one may take the association of the Shastra. This is called Shastriya Sadhu Sangha. But that's secondary, right? Otherwise, we're going to end up with a lot of interesting philosophies which we've got right now. So therefore, that leads us into what we understand as the Bhakta Bhagavata and the Granta Bhagavata. Bhaktis tu Bhagavat Bhaktas Sangana Parijayate Satsanga Prapite Pumbis Sukrite Puva Sanchitai. One develops the pious sukriti to move forward life after life, right? And when one, in the words of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where one develops enough latent bhakti sukriti, one will come for sadhu sangha. Otherwise not. So you may have joined a spiritual mission, but you may never meet a sadhu. That's because sukriti is not there. When the sukriti comes, then you'll meet. There's three types of Sukriti, Karma-Unmukhi Sukriti, Jnana-Unmukhi Sukriti, Bhakti-Unmukhi Sukriti. Best is Bhakti-Unmukhi Sukriti because, in the words of our beloved Gurudev, Srila Govinda Swami, you'll come, that will bring you for Sadhu Sangha. That's just the beginning. You know, and in the words of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, what does it say here? One should be very careful to receive the message from the spiritual master through the ears. That's why sadhus speak. People come. And then there's the two Bhagavatas, the Granta Bhagavata and the Bhakta Bhagavata. But it explained the Bhagavatam that to understand the Granta Bhagavata, you need the Bhakta Bhagavata. Otherwise you won't understand. And this was Gurudev's understanding. Bhakta Bhagavata means the living, breathing, walking, talking sadhu. And the Granta Bhagavata means the book Bhagavatam. So in the Chaitanya Bhagavata it says, Duvistani Bhagavate, Nam Suni Matra. Granta Bhagavata, Are Krishna Kripa Patra. The name Bhagavata applies to two things. The book Bhagavata and the agent of Krishna's mercy. Krishna Kripa Patra. The devotee Bhagavata. Krishna Kripa Patra means the agent of Krishna's mercy. We cannot be the agent of Krishna's mercy. We are conditioned souls. The sadhu is the agent of Krishna's mercy. And then in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it says, Eka Bhagavata Bhada Bhagavata Shastra Ada Bhagavata Bhakta Bhakti Ras Patra. There are again two Bhagavatas, the great scripture, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and that pure devotee who's absorbed in Bhakti Ras Patra. Again, not us. We are not absorbed in Bhakti Ras. Right. And then it says, Dui Bhagavata Dware Diya Bhakti Ras Tanhara Hridaya Tanhara Prema Hoy Vas. That through the actions of these two Bhagavatas, the Lord instills the mellows of transcendental loving service into the heart of the living being. Through the action of these two, The Bhagavata, the Grantha Bhagavata is explained by the Bhakti Bhagavata. You can read, in the words of Abhilagha, you can read till the cows come home, but you may not understand. Right? One must hear through the ears. In the words of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, if one does not surrender to the living Bhagavata, if one does not surrender to the living Bhagavata, he cannot understand the book Bhagavata. Bas, can't do it. It means minimum you need the Bhakti Bhagavata, etc. And then there's a quote from a lecture he gave in Delhi in 1975. He says, if we take advantage of this great Vedic literature, then we become fully aware of Bhagavan and the devotees of Bhagavan. Therefore, it is named Bhagavatam. But this Bhagavatam has to be studied from the very beginning and take the lessons from the live Bhagavata. Live Bhagavata means the living Bhagavata. Living Bhagavata means the walking, talking, breathing, speaking Bhakta Bhagavata, sadhu. So that was Gurudev's point. His Divine Grace, Srila Govinda Swami. Main thing he said, it's a living process. Our line is a living process. It didn't happen different. It wasn't different 5,000 years ago and it's different now. No. It's the same process. Sadhu and disciple. Vaishnava and disciple. Mahabhagava and disciple. Paramahamsa and disciple. It's the same. And just a few examples. Mahaprabhu performed the pastime of hearing the Bhagavatam from Sri Gadadhar Pandit in the gardens of the Tota Gopinath temple, isn't it? You're looking at that temple. There's a garden to the left. They sat there and Gadadhar Pandit spoke the Bhagavatam to Mahaprabhu, tweaking his Radhabhav. When Mahaprabhu heard that Raghunath Das, not Raghunath Das Goswami, another Raghunath, speak the Bhagavatam. That's all this devotee did. He spoke the Bhagavatam. Mahaprabhu fainted. He said, I've never heard the Bhagavatam spoken like this in my life. He said, I'm going to change your name to Bhagavatacharya. And he became the 77th or the 76th line of our Gaudiya line, 76th branch or the 77th branch. Right? In the life of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he studied the books of the previous acharyas and then explained them. See, that's what the acharyas do. They study it, then explain it. We can study it, but because we are not, Krishna is not in the heart, he's not prompting us, we can't understand. We think we understand, then we go on Facebook and want to fight with everyone. Isn't it? I know, I've written 2 books, I know so many things. Yeah, spare me. Oh, don't say that, people will get offended, but that's what they do. Now first hear, then speak. This is the words of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Conditioned soul cannot speak Harikatha. So what does he do? He sits in front of a sadhu and hears, and then he speaks. He repeats, and that's the words of my Gurudev. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur also listened to discourses given by Sri Gopinath Pandit. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur associated with a Siddha Vaishnava named Swarup Das Babiji, discussing scripture with him. In 1899, Gour Das Babiji would come to Swananda Sukhada Kunj to hear Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhagavat lectures. And Srila Jagannath Das Babiji, Srila Gour Das Babiji, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Srila Siddhanta Saraswati as a young boy, they'd all sit, have kirtan and have discuss Siddhanta. I wish I'd have been there for that. Now, who says you can only have one acharya on the planet at the same time? And there's 4 acharyas already there. And at that time, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada had already taken birth, and Vamsidas Babaji was already on the planet. He's a Mahabhagavat, he's right. He was Avadut, but still he's Mahabhagavat. And it said that Srila Gour Das Babaji, he only associated with Mahabhagavats, no one else. Anyway. And then in 1903, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would read and give discourses on the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita to his father at the Bhakti Kutia. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was listening. So our process is hearing, folks. And that was what His Divine Grace, Srila Govinda Swami Maharaj said. The main thing is hearing. That is the main thing. And just to give you an example, many acharyas, they prepare themselves before their mission. And our beloved Gurudev, from the ages of 17 to 44, studied the 4 Vedas, the Upanishads, the Puranas, etc., and the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then went off to preach. Find a bona fide guru and then take sannyas and go out and preach the mission of Mahaprabhu. And no offense to anyone, anywhere, anytime, any place, but no one in ISKCON could speak like the great Bhakta Bhagavata, Srila Govinda Swami. If you ever went to Bhubaneswar and heard those classes, they were phenomenal. They were out of this world. Right? No one in ISKCON could speak like that. So, just to wind up, oh no, I've got more things to read, sorry. I'm going to read an offering now by Manjumeda Devi Dasi, who is the lead illustrator, layout person, and design person for Tattva Vichar publications, of which I think we've done over 100 publications so far. So here it is, Vyasa-puja offering. Bandeham Shri Guru, Shri Yata Padakamalam, Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha, Shri Rupam Sagrajatan Sahagana, Raganutam Vitam Tam Sajivam, Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam, Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakanvitam Scha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Srimati Govinda Swami Niti Namane. Amagyana Timirandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chakshusan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. My dear most Srila Gurudev, on this most auspicious day of your holy appearance, your Sri Vyasa-puja, although I will sound pathetic and I am miserably inadequate, I will make a humble and insignificant attempt to glorify your divine grace. Another name for Sri Vyasa-puja is Sri Guru Pada Padma Padyapana, or bathing the lotus feet of the spiritual master with 5 ingredients, or the process by which it is made known that the inner desire of the spiritual master is to properly serve the Lord. That is why our well-wishing guide and predecessor, spiritual master Srila Thakur Narottam, has glorified our primary guru, Sri Rupa Goswami, as follows. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapatantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who was established within this world, the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? The most merciful Sri Chaitanya Dev's pastimes of distributing love for Krishna that Sri Rupa prescribed to his followers as the remedy for curing the disease of aversion to the service of the Lord are the ideal offering for Vyasa-puja. My dear Gurudev, your inner desire was to serve the Lord and your beloved spiritual master Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And you would daily distribute the remedy for curing the disease of aversion to serve the Lord. Your sole intention was to help and relieve us suffering souls from the miserable world of existence. This miserable world of existence. Like the bumblebee who, attracted by the scent, goes to the Ketaki flower, where his wings get caught and are torn by the thorns of the flower, and is in so much pain. My wings were badly torn and burnt by the blazing forest fire of material life, and I was in a lot of pain when I first met you, my dear Gurudev. At last, disappointed by every side, I had the good fortune to come to the cooling shade at the lotus feet of a pure Sri Guru. You are a physician, as you know, the perfect unfailing medicine to cure material ills. Sri Guru knows why a person has been suffering, and he knows the disease that is causing his suffering. You gave me shelter, and just as the bumblebee sucks the sweet honey from the lotus, similarly your lotus feet allowed my soul to taste the sweet honey there and get nourishment, real happiness. My dear Gurudev, you are Sakshat Hari, as good as Hari. You do not belong to this material world. You belong to the spiritual world, Krishna's world. But because of your causeless mercy, you came down here. Sri Guru means the Guru who is endowed with Sri. The Guru is endowed with Prem Bhakti. This word Sri can only be used for a Guru who is present, who is manifest, So Guru is eternally manifest. Therefore we say Sri Guru. There's no question that Sri Guru becomes unmanifest or that he disappears. If that were the case, we could not use the word Sri. In this world, Sri Guru is the only beauty, the only asset, the only wealth. There is nothing else. Sri Guru is Nitya, eternally present. My dear Gurudev, you are eternally the Lord of my heart. You are the blissful embodiment of Krishna's mercy and the reservoir of compassion for the destitute. You are the saviour of the fallen. You are my only beauty, my only asset, my only wealth. Please grant me shelter at your lotus feet, for I am completely lost without you. My dear Gurudev, you told us that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Maharaj gave a lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam describing the meaning of Vyasapuja. He said Vyasapuja means the puja of all Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. From this statement we can understand the purport of Vyasapuja. It is not only the puja of Vyasadeva, or of Krishna, or of Gour Sundara, or of Guru. That is not real Vyasapuja. Vyasapuja means the puja of all pure Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. That is the real wealth. Oh, sorry. That is the real Vyasa-puja. Therefore, on this most auspicious day of your Vyasa-puja, I would like to offer again and again my sincere Dandavat pranams to you, my dear Gurudev, and to all other pure Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. I beg for your causeless mercy, for it is all I am made of. Vaishnavara Paraduli Tahemura Snan Kelly. Tapana Mora Vaishnaveda Nam. Vaishnaveda Uchista Tahe Mora Mana Nishta. Vaishnaveda Namete Ulas. The dust of the Vaishnava's lotus feet is my bathing water. My mantra for offering oblations is Tapana is the names of the Vaishnavas. My mind is firmly convinced of the spiritual benefit obtained by eating the remnants of foodstuff left by the Vaishnavas. The names of the Vaishnavas are my happiness. You're insignificant trying to be a disciple. Manjumeda Devi Dasi. Jai Ho! I just have to say one thing here. It said, therefore on this most auspicious day of your Vyasa-puja, I would like to offer again and again my sincere Dandavat pranams to you, my dear Gurudev, and to all other pure Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. And that's the reality. As Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada said, Vyasa-puja means if you worship one bona fide sadhu Vaishnava Acharya in our line, you are worshipping everyone. And he also said, those persons that say, when the sadhu Guru Vaishnava leaves, no one else will ever come, no one else will ever come, no one else will ever come. You have to, what is it? Vedanamani Abhaudahoita Nastika. You have to see them as Nastika, atheist or agnostic. We do not accept that philosophy. Sadhu is always there. Narahari Thakur said, Sadhu is always there. That pure Vaishnava is always there. We do not accept, no one will ever come. That is a cliche, minimum. So, does anyone else have anything to say? Should we finish up now? It's 12:30. Keep going. Anyone want to talk? Amal? No. Shrimati? You want to say something else? Yep. So, I've just got one more thing to say. For everyone in internet land, I think everyone here is pretty, has heard a lot of things I've got to say. But this is a little booklet we put together years ago, 108 Transcendental Splendours. The cover's done by my godbrother Raghava Pandit. Oh, he laid it out too, didn't he, Manju? Yeah, he did the layout. So, there's a few things I want to read for people in internet land. You've got this, haven't you? Yeah. Raghava Pandit did the cover. You know Raghava Pandit, Dakshin? You know him? He's a big IT guy. Well, he's not that big, but he's big in actions. He's very good. So, I just want to read a few things, if that's okay. So, number 2 of the 108. Once in 1929, the renowned astrologer and mystic Nityananda Kadiratna from Denkanal came to Gadagiri and stayed for 2 days. While he was there in Gadagiri, he met the young Srila Govinda Swami, less than 1 year old. His name was Brajabandhu Manik, right? And his mother was Patade, and said, this boy is full of devotion, he is very intelligent, he will marry, obtain government service, and in his middle age he will renounce family life and become a sadhu. He will obtain higher knowledge, and because of that he will occupy an important place in the line of sadhus. He will build temples, he will make Gopal Ju's place bright. Right? That is the family deity of Guru Maharaj's mother's family, very famous in Orissa. The astrologer then said, Krishna himself has sent this child from his eternal abode to preach his message and to deliver the fallen conditioned souls. The king, number 6, the current king of Puri, Gajapati Maharaj Divya Singh Dev. He would visit Srila Govinda Swami regularly. When he saw Srila Govinda Swami, he would pay obeisances to him. The residents of Puri lodged a complaint to the king that the king of Puri must not pay his obeisances to any sadhu. Did you know that? The king's reply was, I know this, but when I see this sadhu, Srila Govinda Swami, he reminds me of Lord Jagannath, and therefore I must pay my obeisances. And he said, the king of Puri said, Govinda Swami is the moving Jagannath. Jagannath in Puri temple is standing, but this Govinda Swami, he's the moving Jagannath, therefore I must pay my obeisances. See, everyone outside of ISKCON knew, but everyone inside, they couldn't get it. No offence, they couldn't get it. They couldn't understand how great Guru Maharaj was. Only a few. Jayanta Krit Das, Ram Vijay Das, Upananda, only a few, you know. Subhag Maharaj figured it out very early. He figured it out in the 70s. That should go there. Okay. Number 11. He was taught to chant the holy name from the age of 2 by his esteemed grandfather, Bori Bandagiri, who was a pure Vaishnava, famous Kirtaniya. Number 12. He was taught the Srimad Bhagavatam when he was 6 years old by his esteemed Vaishnava father, Ishvara Manik Das. From the age of 8, he was accompanying his uncles on kirtan throughout the local villages, and sometimes the kirtan would go for 24 hours. He was taught the Chaitanya Charitamrita from the age of 12 by his uncles Gopinath Giri and Jagannath Giri. I mean, it's an unparalleled life. You can't parallel this. From the age of 17, he began a systematic study of the 4 Vedas, the 108 Upanishads, and the 18 Puranas, a study that he continued from that age to when he left family life at age 44. And it just goes on and on and on about, this is number 34, I'll read this. In his book, the world-famous Govinda Swami and the village Gadagiri, Fakir Charan Kanago writes, in 1971, as Srila Govinda Swami, who was then a householder, and myself both went in February to the Himalayas, we had a meeting with a sadhu who foretold the future of Srila Govinda Swami. That sadhu said in 1974, you must leave your home, your most cherished desire will be fulfilled. You will utilize all your power and ability for the use of God's service. Devotees will feel very much fortunate by reading your life story, and they will come under your feet for help and advice. At the time of distress and danger, your love and purification will be the only solace for hundreds of souls, and you will be famous among great saintly persons. You will be the best among the devotees. You will be an acharya, a great rishi, and you will share the path of perfection for many. In the end, you will return to Goloka Vrindavan, your eternal realm. So many astrologers said that. Who says there's no acharya in ISKCON after A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami? I want to meet that person. I want to discuss it with them. I want to hear them. I want to hear what they've got to say, and I'll discuss with them, see what they've got to say, because all the sadhus from different sampradayas, acharyas from different sampradayas, every mystic, psychic, people that read palms, everyone said Govinda Swami is Acharya. Govinda Maharaj Ma Bhagavat. Govinda Swami is Paramahamsa. Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Okay, so we'll stop now and have Guru Puja Pushpanjali. Okay, Dandavats everyone. Haribol.